You're in the mix with the one and only celebrity DJ Cornbread, a.k.a. The Empress.
Hey, man, it's BX the Plug. I'm the big man, and this is
the largest.
Fashitsho Tha Podcast.
Safe to say I'm the biggest.
Hi, I'm author Cordelia Funchess, and I am a domestic violence champion, I should say. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from Mississippi. I now reside in Dallas, Texas. I'm a mother of 3 children and a granddaughter. The little saying they used to say, good girl gone bad. So in school, straight A student, did the right things and, thought that I was going to go forward with college and modeling and doing the things that I had planned for myself. But I had allowed a guy to come into my life and interfere. So we dated. Real nice guy, had the gold teeth, which I never was really into that. But, he just wiped me off my feet with his charm. And you're beautiful. And he was just, telling me all this good stuff. So I was like, okay, I like this guy. He's Rico Suave. I turned him down the first time. Let me go back. I turned him down the first time because I was just kind of iffy about that. And I was in a relationship with my son's father. He had got 20 years on a drug charge. So I met him through one of my friends from cosmetology school. And she was like, I think you need to change your environment with relationships. He's a good guy. He actually works a job, 9 to 5. So I think he'll be, a good fit for you. So I was like, no, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And we kept running to each other in the nightlife. And I was like, well, maybe this is a sign. So we exchanged numbers and we started talking, and he started coming to my mom's house to meet me and taking me out to eat. And he would take me to his parents' house to hang out because, they gathered a lot. So people would see us out and, and they would reach out to me on social media and they were like, is that your boyfriend? And I'm like, well, no, we just met. And it was like, be careful, you don't want to date him. And I'm like, why? Just because. So I was like, well, he treats me fine. He treats my son good. We have a good time together. So time passed and we decided to make an official. And we were out at a gathering and I seen this young lady and she said, are you with him? And I said, yes. And they said, well, he's an abuser. And I'm like, oh, what? Because, we wasn't raised on talking about domestic violence. They didn't talk about that in school. When we experienced stuff, when I saw stuff go on in school, we just thought, oh, okay, well, he loves her or, she got a good man, he cares and he just want to know where she is. But domestic violence didn't click to me at that time. And I kind of mentioned to him, what I was told. And he was like, don't believe them. It's just you. I don't have anybody else. And the girl said, oh, yeah, he's got like 10 women and got 2 people pregnant. And I'm like, what? So he was like, no, it's you. So I gave in and I was like, okay, I'm going to give him a chance anyway. But it was something in the back of my head, telling me to still kind of be careful. But the charm and, the wine and dining and us, doing stuff together, the material things, I think it kind of over drowned the thoughts that I had in the back of my head. So, time passed. We were definitely official. And the abuse started after I had my first daughter by him. And like I said, this same lady kept appearing everywhere we went. It's like I was seeing her and she was like, listen, he's going to jump on you. He fights me. He broke my ribs. And I'm like, but what are you doing that I'm not doing? Because he doesn't treat me like that. But time passed and I started to get the same treatment. It started verbally. Normally, that's how it starts, verbally. Are you stupid? What are you doing? Why you didn't answer the phone? I've called you. I've been by your house. I came by your job. I paged you. You're not answering. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, he gets me. Not that you're in trouble or, you this is not what you need to be doing. And my mom and my sister said that. She said, he's a nice looking guy. I think he does care for you, but you got to be careful. It's something about him. I can't put my hands on it. And years passed. We ended up moving in together. And that's when the physical abuse started, with the pushing and snatching the phones and want to know who you're talking to and you're not going there and throwing dishes and throwing stuff. So at that time, I kind of try to rethink some things. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is what they're talking about. And then the I'm sorry's, I had a bad day at work. or somebody owed me some money and I'm mad, or he had too much to drink. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sweep that under the rug. It's nothing. He yelled, he pushed, he snatched my phone. I stayed with him 17 years. We end up getting married. And the trips to the hospital, not being able to go to work, not being able to be around my family because I had black eyes, or, something was going on. He hit me over my head. I had to go have surgery, stitches. And so then all the things, started to pile up. And my mom actually worked for a domestic violence shelter. She wrote grants. And I would go and volunteer. So I would see the things that those women go through. And then I would go home and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm being abused. This is me. So I think what the red flags for me was, like I said, just him saying, you're nothing. The verbal abuse. And then him not wanting to go to counseling, him saying, okay, let's go to counseling, but we're not going to go. We're not doing it. And he bails out. And it was just kind of like, you die or you go to jail for killing him, or something else is going to happen. So you got to wake up. I just started to see people around me kind of go through the same thing, but I was on hush with mine and didn't say, okay, hey, I need some help, or, what are y'all doing to get help? I kind of balled up in my own little corner to try to figure out, what my steps were going to be at that time. As I got older and I started going through my process, we kind of established that my mom went through financial abuse. It wasn't actually the physical. The guys that she dated after her and my dad divorced when I was younger, they were, well off, and they controlled her by money and credit cards and material things. So I never saw her go through anything physical or verbally. But as my sister and I, we kind of discussed and was trying to figure out, what happened. Did we see this growing up? And we found out that it was actual financial abuse with her. Because with my situation, it was material things and finances, the reason that I stayed. And again, that's the same reason, that my mom stayed with the guys that she was dating, because she was a single mother of two girls and they were providers. Anything she wanted, cars, whatever, mortgage, they did. So when I, got with my girl's father, and, when I said, okay, I'm too good for this. I wasn't brought up around this stuff. I don't deserve this. I know I can be by myself, or there's somebody else out there for me. But then he would say, well, who's going to provide for you and your children? You used to me providing. You don't have no money. Only thing you do is do hair. So that ain't enough money. What are you going to do? And that had me still attached to that situation, was finances. Even though, I went through the counseling and healing process, I still have a lot of triggers. And I've been in and out of situations trying to date since I've been in Dallas. And I have this instinct. I can pick up on people now, just like that. So like she said, if the verbal pattern is off, if they're asking too many questions, and it could be that, they don't mean any harm, but that triggers me because I feel like you're trying to control me. You want to know too much. And then slamming doors and a lot of loud noises, I don't like to be around because of that. It takes a lot for you to remove the toxic stuff out of your mind when somebody is constantly throwing at you every day. You're not nothing. Who are you? You ain't got nothing. You a bitch. Nobody don't want you. You trash, blah, blah, blah. When you get a black eye or something happens, that heals. It may leave scars, because I have several scars that I see every day, but it's the remembering the words and the things that they told you and brainwashed you with. It takes over from the rest of the abuse. I see, with the application and the volunteering that I do every day, it's a lot going on in our younger generation. And they don't know, they don't have people in their village to teach them about domestic violence or sexting or, whatever is going on in their generation now. So I will say, trust your instinct. If it feels wrong, then it's wrong. There are a lot of places and shelters and hotlines and groups for you to get out, and reach for help if you're ashamed and you can't go to your parents. We see it every day. And a lot of people are the younger generation, even some of my age, are still going through that, and they're ashamed of being judged because society is very judgmental when it comes to domestic violence. Are you crazy? I wouldn't let them do that to me. Why you stand? And that makes a person close up in a shell and not want to get help. So I was just tell them, there's going to be a lot of judgmental situations out there, but you still have to reach out and get help. My cousin, like I said, I'm from Mississippi. We just buried her last year for the same thing, domestic violence. She's so many restraining orders on this guy. He'd been in the jail so many times, and then he ended up getting like 10 years for the last assault that he did on her. And they let him out early and then notified the family, and he went and found her and killed her in her apartment. And they caught him on camera. And then still gave him a bond after they saw him murder her on camera. So, yeah, I would say, it's only so much that they're going to do. But I learned through my processes a paper trail. Even though I was scared to go to the police about him because he was just that bad. And I already knew that, if I called the police and they picked him up, what was going to happen when he got back, because I've already experienced it. They only kept him for a certain amount of time. And then the family, well, you that's your husband. You can't do that. He can't stay in jail. He got to come home and help you with the kids. So then what you want to do, ma'am? Drop the charges. So if I believe, in certain situations, like I've known people personally that went through this and they had to, like she said, take matters in their own hand. The paper trail saved them from time. When I used to go, before I even married him, and I knew better. We had this big wedding plan, and he had lost the dice game with somebody, and somebody had owed him some money for some drugs or something. I can't remember. But I just remember him pulling up in the driveway. The wedding was like in 2 weeks. And we were getting ready to take my kids to the aquarium in New Orleans. And I heard those tires slide down the driveway in the gravel rocks. And I was telling the kids, go in your room. It's something about to happen. And they was like, no, we scared. And he came in, and it was just World War III. So both of these eyes were black. They were closed. My nose was busted. I had a gash here. He had tore up the kitchen. And then my best friend was on her way because she was going to spend the night because we were going to get up and leave early that morning. So my neighbor heard out the commotion, and she called the police. And at that time, it was like, okay, you don't have to press charges, but we see that you have bruises and stuff. We're going to take him anyway. And that's what happened. So he was in the car texting his brother, and they were all against me because I will always ask, okay, what am I supposed to do? Well, what did you say? Both of his parents. What did you say? And come to find out, this was a cycle between their family. They doing this to their husband, and the men was doing this to their wives. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I get it now. Everybody's alcoholic. Everybody has anger management problems. Everybody has control issues. So this is what I'm doing. And my friend said, do not marry him, Cordelia. Don't marry him. And I was like, girl, I'm not. We went to New Orleans anyway because my kids were so excited. And I remember going to a Walgreens, and it was open 24 hours. And she went in and got me 2 patches to go over my eye. She said, well, I don't know how you're going to walk, but you have to put one on. And we went to New Orleans, and I had the ice pack on, and I was able to kind of start seeing out of one eye. And they arrested him, and I got a call like 4 hours later. His family went and bonded him out. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get a hold of this situation? And every time something happens, then they go to his rescue. And then they don't want to talk to me. They don't want the kids to come over because we've had this big altercation, and I'm trying to defend myself. I'm trying to protect myself. And as a woman or, parents, y'all should want the same thing and not tell him, well, just leave for a couple days and she'll be all right. When you come back, buy something nice. So we come back from New Orleans. He had renovated the house. He was like, let's cancel the wedding and we're going to go to the courthouse. And I did it anyway. The biggest mistake. Child, that was that after we signed those I do's.
You're in the mix with the one and only celebrity DJ Cornbread, a.k.a. The Empress.